Hello, my lovelies. Excuse the dishwashers on behind me, so it might be a little bit noisy, but I wanted to, for days now, I wanted to do this video. So I've finally got a few minutes time. I'll do it now. So I just wanted to talk about fermenting in general and preserving and fruit, vegetables, and that sort of thing. But let's just start with some books that I have, well, some recently purchased, others I've had for a while. So let's just start with the very first one that I can really recommend to you. If you're into growing your own stuff, even if it is only in pots or on a balcony or on a terrace or just small little bit, then this is the one I would advise you. The Allotment Seasonal Planner and Cookbook. Let me see, who's it by? Andy Cleevely. I hope you can see that. I hope it's not the wrong way round. So this is fantastic. I'll just show you an example inside. For example, here we go. Late spring, what you plant, what should be now also ripening, what is next to plan for, how to plant it, and what you can cook with it once you've with the stuff that has and then other tips like about fertility of certain plants and how to prune them and nip them and things like that. So it has in here quite a few suggestions. Here we go. This is what the recipes look like, for example. So you have your recipes there. And my reading note has fallen out. Here we go, where I was stuck to, because I wanted to see if I can plant potatoes actually, because I've done my first lot, and I thought, oh well, they weren't entirely successful because I planted them too late, so I didn't have that many, but they were very tasty, I can tell you that. So I wanted to see if I can get another lot in before the autumn, but the ones that I have are best put in the spring. So there you go. So that's a book that I really suggest having. Now, if you're into the art of fermenting, pardon me, anything from fruits to vegetables to making wine to making beer, all of that, kefir, kombucha, anything you can imagine. Also, fermenting includes also like tempeh and tofu and things like that, although tofu is not fermenting. Tempeh, what's the other? I can't remember now. But anyway, then I would suggest, and this I've already read, I don't know, 3 times at least, and this is The Art of Fermenting. And it is a big whopper. It has recipes in there too and general tips from Sandor Elix Katz. This is a fantastic book. Now, my suggestion is this: do not get it as a Kindle, because you will regret it. If you want to pick up quickly on a recipe or so, then in the as a Kindle app, as a Kindle book, it's not very easy to find and not very easy to do. So if you want to use this as a reference book, which I do, because it has all the basics in there, some things, well, there's more modern things that have come up recently that could be added to this book, but it is still the golden standard. So this book is fabulous. I really would encourage you to get this. Not that expensive either. I mean, what, 5 years ago or so, it was a lot more expensive to get here in the UK than it is now. So, because I've had this on my list as a book, I've got this as a Kindle as well. I've had this on the list as a book for ages. So then, if you're into preserving, there's a little bit of fermenting in here as well. But I would suggest if you like pickling and preserving and conserving and making jams, jellies, and all those kind of things, as well as pickles and chutneys and blah, 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 then I really would recommend the Home Preserving Book from Ball. I must say there's things in here that in my many years of doing things I have not come across or not known. Yeah, so I've learned something reading this too. Fantastic book, has lovely recipes in it. So let me just pick one out. For example, this is how it's written. So here we have fig preserves. It tells you in the beginning about preserves, it tells you a little bit about the story, how to do it, and some tips. So there are tips in here, for example, for those that are diabetic, for non-sugar recipes, for different kinds of pectins and all sorts of things, different kinds of vinegars. Very, very good to have as a standard guide in the household. And then last but not least on the book, I've recently purchased this, already gone through it twice. This is by Catherine Lucas and Shane Patterson, and it's called The Farmhouse Culture Guide to Fermenting. This is fantastic. I have just literally finished making or setting up 2 of the recipes that are in here. What I like about this book, it gives you a good introduction to fermenting in general, but then it also, let me pick out a recipe here. Let's not pick up a hot sauce. Here, for example, cucumber kimchi. Okay, it will give you the size, what you need, a description how to do it, and in the book, now I can't remember what page it was. Here, 180, for example. Then it will also give you here a guide, and it gives you for sauces as well, for other ferments, how long and what to expect on the days of fermentation. This is super helpful because that gives you a guide of what you're supposed to be expecting if you're a beginner and even if you're not a beginner, because it will tell you, let me just read this, for example. Fermentation temperature and time. Above 68 Fahrenheit, ferment 1 month or less. If you from 65 to 68, ferment 1 to 2 months. Okay, I know for us centigraders, I'll have to write in there what that is in centigrade, really. And then 60 to 63, ferment to 2 to 3 months. And below 60, you've got to ferment for at least 3 months or more. So that is super helpful. And it, of course, with every recipe, it will tell you the specifics and what to expect. But this is just the general guide here. And this was for the for hot sauces, as in for sauces. But there is one for general kraut fermentation and so on in here. So I really, really advise this. I have just set up the curried kraut one and the surf and turf. Okay, so I'll tell you how that goes. I've literally just finished and it's set up in the back and it's being covered over there and it's waiting nicely for me. So I put the date on and I will tell you as it goes week by week what happens. So let me just talk about the ginger ale come ginger beer come ginger alcohol. Now I did a general measurement with the hydrometer, which I have in the cupboard. I don't know if you've ever seen a hydrometer. Let me just pick it out. I should have got it before. Let me see. Here we go. And as you can tell, this is super, super old because this is actually my husband's. He used to make beer and wine. So I've made wine before as well with him a few years back. And here we go. This is the hydrometer vessel. And you pour the liquid you want to measure into here. And then you take the actual hydrometer. Careful with it because it is glass and it is weighted, and normally, well, this one has a little string. They come with sometimes with strings. I think this one was added later. So this is the hydrometer. You fill it up and then you hang it into here, and then you let go, obviously, and then it bounces, and then you read the number of, I don't know if I can get that to focus. You can read the numbers off here, and that will give you a gravity measure. And that gravity measure, if you put it to the formula for measuring alcohol, then you will get the percentage of alcohol. So now, what is the formula? When you've just made your ginger ale or whatever you're making, and you fill it into here, make sure you don't have too many bubbles, and then you measure that by hanging it in, as I just said. That will be your original gravity, right? And then whenever you think you want to measure again, you do the same thing. You take from your jug or wherever you're fermenting it, you put that liquid into here. Make sure there's not too many bubbles. You just move the hydrometer up and down a little bit so that the bubbles disperse a bit. And then that is then the final gravity of that day. So then you take your original gravity minus the final gravity, which you've just done, and times that by 131.25, and that will give you a percentage. So why am I telling you this? Because I measured the ginger ale at ginger alcohol. I actually have still got it in the fridge, so it's now quite a long time in the fridge. My first set, which is now over 4 weeks, but I measured up to 4 weeks. So day 1 I had 0.26% day alcohol. Day 2 0.79%. It's raining like crazy. Day 3 I had 1.31%. Day 4, 1.31%, so no change between day 3 and 4. Day 5, I had 1.58%. Day 6, 2.36%. Day 7, 2.36%. So once again, 6 and 7 were the same amount of, sorry, it's too much noise. Now, after 14 days, a fortnight, I had 5.5%. After 3 weeks, 6.8%. And after 4 weeks, 7.9%. Isn't that astonishing? Well, that's from the original recipe that I posted. So there you go. The normal cane sugar, as in the light cane sugar, was a tiny bit less. and sort of petered out by week 3 and just stayed there. But there you go. So that was it for today. I hope you enjoyed that little talk we had together. See you soon. Missing you already. Bye.